Ladies and gentlemen, it's August 24th, 2010. This is day 9, day number 166, and I am sleepy. Oh my god, I'm so tired. For any of you, I drool. What is this? I guess I'm real happy to be back doing the daily. For any of you who are wondering where I've been for exactly 1 week, I was in Germany. I was in Cologne, Germany, doing a shoutcast for the Intel Extreme Masters Global Challenge at Gamescom, and that was awesome. Oh my god, I love Germany, and I love watching really good players play live in front of a crowd. That was so good. In particular, some of my favorite memories include having several laughing fits during the course of the day. Just started giggling uncontrollably for not exactly the best reasons. For instance, so I have when I was up on stage, when they had the camera on me, there's this glass of water that was off to the side, right? So they constantly kept refilling it because obviously they want my voice to be okay while I'm casting. And you can probably tell it's still a little bit tired from doing all the casting for 5 days in a row. But while I was casting with Diapollo, who by the way was awesome, he was great to cast with first time, they refilled my water glass because it was almost done and it was totally full. So I picked it up to take a drink of water, and again the camera's on us, and I just dumped water all over myself. just shut it because I thought it was empty. And I just thought this was the funniest thing in the world. Because my pants are all cold. I'm shivering because my little bottom's all wet now. And I just started giggling to Diapollo. He looked at me, he's like, "Oh, just spill your water?" And I was like, "I spilled my water!" And I just could not stop giggling. That was pretty awesome. Or when I was trying to get one of the observers into the game because there was some error. And in between games, even though Diapollo and I were passing it back and forth the whole time, I really had no idea what he was saying. I was not paying attention to a single word that was coming out of that man's mouth because I was trying to get this guy in the game. I'd listen for when his intonation sort of dipped off, and then I would spring forth and be like, blah, 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 and I could have been repeating everything he said. I don't know. I figured that the more weird and random it was, the less chance there was that he had already said it, so I figured that was gonna keep me cool. And then he asks me a question while I'm there, and he just blah 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 blah, right, day 9, and I was like, what was the question? And he's like, yeah, who was it in game 5 that beat, or that Idra beat in the quarterfinals? And I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. I blanked out. And again, I thought this was the funniest thing known to man, and I think I giggled for probably 10 minutes. I could not stop laughing. I was laughing right into the microphone, and my eyes were watering because I was giggling. So that was totally kick-ass. And also, Artosis is still the funniest human being I've ever met in my entire life. We made fun of Diapollo and the Muslim for being British and using those British isms. The Muslim, he wanted a cup of water. I was like, "Oh, you want a cup of drinky?" Just making stuff up. Barracks getting built nearby his base. "Oh, it's a closey racks," and all that good jazz. So, even though that's probably a 5 on the scale, on the funny scale, Artosis and I probably laughed for 30 minutes. I was laughing so hard, I had tears in my eyes. All these people are coming up and taking photos of me, just out of control. Oh, those are the good old days. And I don't actually know how long this daily's been going because my record console was a little bit laggy, but it seems to be back. Alright, I've been blabbing at you for 3 minutes and 41 seconds. And of course, I gotta give a shout out to Limbic Software, who made Tower Madness in the App Store, because they just gave me an iTouch. They just handed it to me. They were just like, "Do you want an iTouch?" And I was like, yes. Even if I had 4 iTouches, I'd be like, "Yeah, I want another give me the iTouch." So they just gave me an iTouch. It's the first piece of technology I've ever owned. And their game is Tower Madness. Go buy it. I'm gonna plug them for the rest of my life because that was such a huge present. And they wrapped it. They wrapped it in this nice little green wrapping paper, and it had the little things wrapped around, and I couldn't get it open no matter what. You need a lightsaber to open presents nowadays. It's impossible to get the friggin' stuff. But I opened it, and I was flattered. And then they wanted a photo, and I had 2 sandwiches in my hand, so I just put the sandwiches between my legs and clamped them because I wasn't putting those down for anything. We took a photo, and it was good. I'm still talking. I still haven't said anything about the daily, but you know what? This is my show. I'm exhausted. I'm jet lagged. I had a 12-and-a-half-hour flight from Germany to LA, and then I had to sit in traffic to get home. But I showed up to the airport. Okay, get this. You have to check in 45 minutes before your flight. I checked in 46 minutes before my flight. Oh, and as a result, they didn't have a seat for me, so they bumped me to first class. Oh, I was in first. It was so cool. Like I literally entered it, and angels were singing when I went into first class. Oh, I like sat down. I was like, oh, and they came up and they're like orange juice, wine, and I was like yes to both. And immediately, like the footrest just comes up. And I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if that woman just got on her knees and just gave me a massage, like right there on my feet. It was so perfect in first class. And they feed you like 9 meals. And I remember I turned to the lady next to me and I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. Oh, and she's like, well, hey, you're lucky to be in first class. You shouldn't take advantage of it. And I totally took advantage of it. I'm the poorest person in the universe. What am I not going to do that? I'll show that bitch. Yeah, man. Like they're like, well, you'll have to drink. I was like, a Bailey's Irish Cream and a wine and a water and a Bailey's Irish Cream. And she was like, right away, sir. 4 glasses instantly. Massage my feet too. Yeah. So I guess I should probably talk about StarCraft 2. Because of the fact that coincidentally, at the Global Games Challenge in Cologne, there were no Protosses in the round of 8. It was 1 Terran versus Terran and 3 Terran versus Zergs. And then every other series was Terran versus Zerg. Because of that, we're going to do a Protoss versus Protoss. We're actually going to jump into the action right now. We're going to be watching just a PvP that I have not seen. This is Moo's Geist. Or, I know it's Mouse, because, you know, it's Mouse Sports, but I'm going to read it as Moose. That's what's going to happen. Also, Nightend is over here in the greeny Protoss. He's a greeny toss. So, PvP is kind of a funky matchup, largely because of how the 4 Warpgate push kind of defines this matchup. I do have sound on, right? Alright, that's good news. That's fantastic to know that I'm not as awful at doing my dailies. I like to joke that I am, and I'm just going to, yeah, alright, that's audio levels perfect. Oh, yeah. So, the 4 Warpgate push kind of defines this matchup, because it comes right at a time when you would want to be teching. So, for instance, if you just get a lot of stalkers, like nothing but stalkers when you 3 or 4 Warpgate push, it's pretty hard to defend. It's pretty hard to defend unless you have a narrow ramp. So, for instance, in this matchup, I personally like opening Phoenix. That's my opening of choice, to go 2 Warpgate and then straight into Phoenix, hide it back here, save up your Chrono Boost so that way you can boost those Phoenixes away. But it only works if you have a very thin choke that you can abuse. On this map, I'm torn. I'm torn because it is a very, very wide choke. But again, that 4 Warpgate push prohibits you from doing anything too extraordinarily funky. You do need a lot of units relatively soon. So we do have Nightend. Looks like he went for a 14 Gateway, and there's another very late gas. Don't mind doing either of these very, very late. And you know, on this map, one thing to note, even though it's long distances, you kind of have to ignore that in PvP early game, because you can't block all the pylons that he would want to hide, like everywhere, like in all these locations I keep boxing. A pylon goes down, you're getting 4 Warpgate rush. I mean, the distances are essentially irrelevant at that point. Now, let's just check out what these players are doing. Now, I will admit, I personally steer a little bit more towards Nightend's style of play of getting a Zealot before the core here. Or if I do get the core, I go ahead and I get another Cybernetics core. If I get the Cybernetics core first, I almost always get the Zealot right afterwards. I actually go Zealot and then Gas. I just prefer that because you can sneak a Zealot out before that core finishes, and then you can almost immediately get a Sentry. And I really like 1 Zealot, 1 Sentry mixes. A lot of people... Now, this is actually pretty significant, what I'm about to say. Many people prefer getting 1 Stalker right when that Cyber Core finishes so that they can kill off this probe. Stalkers are one of the fastest early game units out there. And people just don't want to get scouted. A Sentry is... It's a little bit, it's not very fast, so that's why people really are getting the Stalker pretty frequently nowadays. So I definitely recommend getting that Stalker out. I mean, again, unless you're like me and you're going Phoenix and you really do need the money. Because a lot of the reason why I do get a Sentry is because I'm immediately building a second gateway. And one thing to note about the Sentry is like the I want to do something different unit. That's the unit that's going to let you hold off that 4 Warp Gate push. That's going to let you throw down as many force fields as you want. Because surprisingly, you have enough money to do that. But either way, it looks like Nightend is not doing any of that. I'm going to step out of Theory Land and come over here and say he's building a Robo Bay. And what's going on in this other guy's base? Oh, wow, getting a second gateway and also a Robo Bay. That's actually very, very interesting to me. And I'll talk about that in a minute. It looks like a little pushing action going on in the center of the map. That's nifty. Who doesn't like that? Again, controlling the Zelnaya Watchtower on this map is pretty critical. I actually prefer to have... I think this is so smart. Oh, what I'm about to say is so smart. Put 1 probe here. Ordinarily, you have a probe here, but put 1 here. And then just have your units be right here, because then you have vision range of everywhere he could be sending a probe. So suddenly that proxy pylon here or here or here, you just don't need to worry about it, because you can see the probe that's going to be trying to enter to do that. Of course, you have to have really, really fast reactions and be watching your minimap a lot. And you know, I'm going to say this. You need to have fast reactions, and you need to do it quickly, and you need to be watching your mini-map, and most of you are going, oh, it's hard. Yes, indeed, it's really hard. Well, it's actually not that hard, but you need to benchmark yourself against what is theoretically best, not against what feels like it should be possible or not. You should tell yourself, I should watch the mini-map 100% of the time, so that way, I never have to worry about getting storm dropped. That is the correct way to think. Not something like, well, I better make 4 sets of cannons at every base because there's no way I could ever look at the minimap for all those periods of time. My glasses are still broken. Really, you should push yourself a little bit farther, because I'm going to tell you, if you can convince yourself that it's possible, you'll start improving real fast. A lot of people, kind of say these things of, oh, well, I did that because I'm a gold level player and I'm a silver level player and I can't. And I get that, but every now and again, just start really pushing yourself. Just really say, I need to be perfect, and I can be perfect. Oh, yes. Day 9 TV, aka Self-Esteem Camp for Nerds. You can go the distance. I'll start playing the soundtrack from the Disney movie Hercules, which was a really good movie. But, okay, so what I like about Nightend, what he's doing right here, look at that, going straight for the Immortal. Recall that I said that the Warpgate pushes define this matchup by a lot. And getting this very fast Immortal is going to help a ton with that. You suddenly don't really have to worry that much about Stalkers. It means that my army will always be more powerful than a cutesy fast army, and now all I have to do is figure out a way to beat some Zealot Sentry action. And I think it's reasonable, considering the pace he's getting these gateways. And see, look how fast that Warp Gate came from Mo's Geist. I mean, in Nightend's position, he's looking a little thin. It's a little bit thin on the defense. I don't mind it, but something to think about. Now, this is highly unusual and highly kick-ass, because, again, I did not see this game before talking about it tonight, because, again, I was sleeping because I'm incredibly jet-lagged. So that is just fancy, and I'm going to talk about this later down the road. I'm going to pretend it doesn't exist. This is a good defensive force. We can get an observer out relatively quickly. I'm liking it.